Yeah.
And we're live with the second annual Timber Ninja Radio podcast coming to you live.
Zoom live.
Zoom live. Oh man, it is so nice to be back in the hashtag saddle.
That's good stuff.
Yes. Buenas noches, amigos.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
Yo también, amigo.
Yeah. All right. That's about the end of our Spanish lesson. Okay?
Yeah.
So, man, it has been a while since we've been together on a podcast, right?
It's been
a year.
And
because we flooded in August.
In 12 days, it'll be exactly a year.
Yeah.
Because it was Friday the 13th was the last time that we podcasted. Friday the 13th of August.
And we dug the SD card from the ashes of the flood. Ashes, that's the exact opposite. The mud of the flood. And it still worked.
I know. It's like something that should have been on Braveheart. I mean, in that one podcast, we shot to the top of the ranks. Like we were up there next to Joe Rogan for one podcast. And we go a year and, we lose a few followers, obviously. But we're here again. And it's fun, actually. We get caught up in what we do every day at Timber Ninja Outdoors, making stuff, and which sounds fun, but sometimes it's not the most fun. So it's cool to get on here and chat up and BS a little bit and get this podcast going. Because honestly, like for me, I don't know about you guys, but I get more excitement out of talking to people and BSing about hunting and adventures than I do about products.
Yep.
Absolutely. Especially building products.
Mm-hmm. Fortunately, we build ours here in the U.S.
Ooh, you can't. Yeah, if anybody ever wants to do a deep dive on our building the products, we can make that happen. But we'll only do it once because it's not as fun.
Yeah, just back shots of my triceps is tighten up bolts.
You guys wear chacos?
Yeah, wear chacos on the stand all the time. Easiest way to the mountains. So we've had a year go by, essentially. A lot's happened since then. I guess maybe we'll talk about some updates about the company first a little bit, get that crap out of the way.
Sounds good to me.
So last year, since our last release, we had a fun time supplying customers with sticks, and we started working on some new products such as our black belt saddle, our tree stand, platform, camera arm, and some of those things came out, some haven't. We have high expectations, but being an optimist is not always the best outcome, I guess, especially with dealing with an interesting market like we have this year as far as supply chain goes. That's been wild.
Yeah, and the cost of goods bringing stuff up has been insane. I had no idea how much that was going to influence a lot of this as well.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but I mean, we got more sticks out the door. We got overwhelmed with that a little bit as a small team. Our saddle did release. We have a tree stand ready to go, just because of demand on other stuff. We haven't even released that. Camera arm's about to come out, and a new stick with deeper standoffs.
Yeah.
An aluminum step.
Aluminum steps.
Yeah, those are cool though. I mean, I don't know if personally I'm going to use the deeper standoff with aluminum step, but it does give a lot of foot room and some things. I mean, Jordan, you're a big dude. You're what, I don't want to say your weight live, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
6'4", 225.
Yep, 6'4", 225. What do you think about the new variation?
I mean, I think it's sweet. Definitely gives you a little more room, but same as you, I'm not gonna, I don't see myself using them just because, I feel like there's plenty of room on there already. And as we discussed before, it's hard to have everything like it's hard. You got to give and take in some areas, right? If you want the lightest stick for mobile hunting, you can't have the biggest standoffs and the biggest steps. But I mean, I wear a size 13 and I feel great on it.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as people that were concerned about some of the flex with the resin step, which we don't, when we increased that thickness for people, even though we passed the test with the thinner one, it's not as much, but I mean, that aluminum definitely takes the flex out. And
no, the aluminum's solid for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's not even much movement in that thing at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It is nice.
I mean, it's a little louder. I mean, obviously you get a little bit more weight, with our 20-inch carbon C1 with the normal standoff and polymer step, what we're like at 1.2, which, if we cut a few inches off, maybe we'd be the lightest stick in the universe. But, with adding that aluminum to that stick with that new standoff, I think we're at what, 1.6 or something like that.
1.4.
It was
somewhere in there.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good trade-off. I see especially a lot of your bigger guys maybe gravitating toward that, or people that are uncomfortable climbing on their balls of their feet. So
probably people that wear rubber boots too.
Yeah, rubber boots for sure. Yeah, they're big and bulky. So
because we're wearing mountain boots, so we got a little bit better feel on the step.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, tactile sensitivity.
That's right. Ooh.
But so yeah, we got that coming out soonish, and just having a good year, man. Like this year, we've been really busy, which we kind of sucked on our updates on social media and video and all these other things we have planned, which we'll talk about recaps from last year, which we actually filmed some hunts, but we haven't loaded them. But it is what it is. We got more stuff that we plan on working on. Got new stick that we're working on for next year. It's completely revolutionary.
It's gonna change the game.
Going to change the game. Yeah. And just other things. I mean, it'd be fun. We have fun making products and educating people. So, do you want to talk some hunting recaps? That's a lot more fun.
Yeah. So I guess it'd probably be you, right? You went elk hunting first before me and Jordan did. Do you remember much of that?
Yeah, I remember. Technically, I mean, when I went fishing in Alaska in July.
That's right.
That was a fun trip. Caught a bunch of fish and explored some new country. And then started my season off in Colorado elk hunting. I was doing a 9-day #solo hunt in the backcountry, and got back in there, trying to make it fast. Rained the whole way in, so I got soaking wet and only brought the change of clothes I was wearing, and got all my crap wet before I got set up, waited through the rain, had a bull come up to my tent that night, picking a fight with a bull above me, got that on film. Dried out my clothes, tried to start drying my clothes out the next day, got on that same bull, then ran into some people, which I never had happened back in that unit. And that didn't work out. Ended up hiking around a bunch that week and called in 5 other people. So was not the backcountry like spiritual journey I was looking for. But I did get on some elk and got close, but nothing didn't happen. That bull, I ended up calling in that bull opening morning to 65 yards, and just wasn't close enough. But he was a cool herd bull. That'd have been nice to get an arrow in him, not on the first day because that wouldn't have been as fun. I would like that on the 4th and 5th day. But yeah, it was a great time up there. Yeah, that was my elk season. What about y'all's elk season? Y'all had a combo hunt.
Yeah, we went back to back to the unit that Jordan's killed his 2 bulls in Idaho, after Idaho switched up last year, how they did the tag mine process. And after like 5 hours of bedlam waiting to get our tags, we got them. And we went out there second half of September. Is that right, Jordan?
Yeah, like mid to late.
And the area we usually go to, this was mine and Jordan's, both of ours, our third trip out to this spot, but the fourth year that we had been going, because Tyler and David have gone, that was their fourth time. And we thought with reduced tags and increase in tag price, we were not going to see as many people. And I think we saw more people in the first 3 days than we had seen in the past 3 seasons.
Wow.
We had
a lot.
yeah, and just not a lot of they were moving weird. We saw a lot leaving and like going down. And then we relocated and went to another area that's kind of higher and more like, I guess you'd say like more timbery.
Heavy timber, yeah.
Yeah, and it was I wish we'd been up there the whole time. It
was sweet.
Yeah. Tell them, talk about that, Jordan.
No, I mean, it was beautiful, beautiful area. It was cool to go hunt different style than what we were used to and just heavy timber. The unfortunate thing is, that rut really was just dragging. It was hot. Ran into one local guy who said he had seen like herd bulls not even pushing cows, like, mid-September. And so that made it kind of tough with the bugles. Me and Tricky got on one bull like right off the bat and we're just so close to getting in the perfect position. Unfortunately, nature called on the way for both of us on the way. And I really believe if we hadn't had to stop and do that we could have been in better position. So that just shows you got to pay attention to what you eat the night before you're chasing out.
That's right. Eat something that's going to stay on your innards and not try and get out halfway down. But we got a little bit of that on video, and then went out to another spot. Tyler and David, we put them on the death hike unintentionally, but we found some really cool stuff. And then Tyler and David had like some pretty awesome encounters with elk.
Yeah, they got into them on that real. I mean, I think, at the quote trailhead, that ridge coming off that trailhead was like, 4.5 miles back. So it was a pretty good hike just to get back there, but that's where the elk were holding. It seemed like they just had some hot cows back there because the rutting activity was on fire back there for a few days. But just in that one pocket, because everywhere else we were bugling and road bugling. I mean, it was just dead.
Yeah, and then while we were there, they discovered the remains of a goat hunter that went missing in the late 50s. Like kind of up the trail from us, not too crazy, but that was pretty wild.
That's pretty cool.
And then we didn't kill anything. And yeah, when we were leaving, we found all the elk. They were sitting in alfalfa fields in the valley. About, what would you say, Jordan? How many hundred?
At least 300 elk.
It was insane.
Craziest thing I've ever seen.
I think if I was going to die, I wouldn't mind dying in the goat mountains.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that in a lot of things.
Chasing
it was
chasing goats. Yeah.
It was a good ways. It was good ways up ahead of us, but we got to see the helicopters. And when we got home, I found the article and I was like, well, probably don't want to tell Brittany about that.
There's your son.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think it's getting a little challenging out west to hunt, especially on OTC units.
For sure.
I mean, for me, like a lot of my passion comes from getting away from people. And I think that's why I've gravitated towards Alaska more after hunting there. It's like, it's easier to get away from people because A, there's a cost associated, and 2, the risks are a lot higher. Like the thing I noticed about the years of hunting in Colorado was like, we go in deep in remote spots, but you think about 10 years ago, people didn't have access to like Onyx maps or any mapping systems. They didn't have inReaches. so it made you feel uncomfortable to go into the wild by yourself if your skills weren't there. But now you can pretty much go into these places as a greenhorn and not have to worry about survival, right?
Yeah.
So I think it opens up a lot of people's securities or insecurities. I mean, it's cool if people get out there and experience it. It's all our land, right? But it's a bummer. I know it was for me. Like one part is I like to go into the hunt to harvest an animal, right? That's awesome. But also it's just like the whole experience. And like for me, that hunt last year was that, I know you guys about, was like, I just wanted to be alone for 9 days and not see anybody. And be in a tent with no connection to the world. And just got kind of like taken from me, and was pissed off and pulled out after 7 days and went to another spot that was supposed to be remote and saw 3 people there, but I had opportunities on elk, like it's not the reason I wasn't successful, I just, shit happens when you're trying to shoot something with a stick bow.
When you're trying to shoot something with anything.
Yeah, or any archery, weapon, the gun, you could definitely bang stick them pretty easy.
Yeah.
But with a bow, it's tough. I don't care if it's stick bow or compound. If you're on OTC elk or a lot of those critters, OTC, even whitetail, which leads up to the next topic that we all do, and it's what we make products for, is whitetail hunting. Let's hear some whitetail recaps from 2021. Start with the possum.
He's talking about you, Jordan. Oh, the possum, as in, I remind you the most of George Jones of anybody here.
No show,
understood.
George.
Understood. Really, I didn't get to. I bow hunted a little bit. I had to switch out the limbs and everything, so it was still like learning the bow was kind of different, doing all that.
For anybody that doesn't know, Tyler found out he had cancer in 2020 and kicked its ass and had to get surgery on his arm so he couldn't draw his bow forever. So this was like the first season he's been back in a few years, and also you weren't like able to completely prepare for it because you couldn't hardly shoot your bow.
No, and yeah,
we don't want any sympathy, but yes, Tyler was an injured little kitten for a little while, but he came back as a tiger.
And actually, about that, it was actually we started in May of 2020. May 28th is when I broke my arm. June 18th is when we found out I had cancer. So the first year of Timber Ninja, I was in chemotherapy, and YouTube pretty much held it down. And then I would just come and like dip in when I wasn't in the hospital getting treatment, because it was, 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 5 weeks every 6 weeks in the hospital. So yeah, it was weird. So with that, whitetail was a little bit touch and go and rougher in the early season, because like in North Carolina we have our early season is bow season, and then there's a muzzle loader in the western part where we're at, and then there's another archery before they do the rifle. And when rifle came in, that was a good time. I got permission on a farm in the county that I work in, and I killed 3, wounded 4, the 4th one really bad, but it lived. But I killed 3 in one day with my 7mm 08. That was fantastic. And then after season, we went back in there to try and get fetal samples and also some harvest so they could test some CWD stuff. And I killed 2 more with my rifle, and it was fantastic and awesome.
That hurt.
Jordan texted me the day that I was out there hunting, because you weren't, as the crow flies, not a crazy distance from me, but he said, have you seen anything? And my reply back to him was, I got 3 on the ground and waiting for the 4th one to die.
Lord.
It was awesome. And then we stacked 3 dead deer in the back of a Subaru Tribeca.
All for conservation.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, that's all I was doing. I was just doing my part. Just
Yeah.
passing it on, man.
Yeah. Nice.
It was awesome.
Jordan, what you, buddy? I mean, you had a pretty good year. You didn't travel any, I don't think, right? Yep. Nope.
No, not after the 2-week elk hunt. Didn't travel. I mean, yeah, it was a good year. It was a tough year. I mean, anytime you're hunting West North Carolina in the mountains and you're actually like trying to target a buck, it's usually a tough year.
Yeah.
Just because our deer density is so low. But no, it was good. A good time. I mean, got a lot of good new intel on a new spot that I found before season. Had 3 big deer I was on. I mean, just was like right behind them the whole season. But there was one key to the puzzle that I missed early season. And just like one thing it taught me, and you know, you learn stuff every season, even if you've been hunting 25 years, but like I missed a food source in early season when I was scouting by like 30 yards. I mean, it was so thick I couldn't see it, and didn't find it till late season. And it was a apple tree just loaded with apples. And I could not figure out why the deer were so thick in there, but that was the reason. And then by the time I found it, it was about too late. There was just a few apples left and kind of dried up. But anyways, but good season. Ended up killing a decent 6-point back there on an all-day sit right before dark. It was right before rifle season, and I knew that public land, it would probably get wasted. So I took my opportunity and got that. So it was good I hadn't killed a buck in 4 years. So it's been a minute. Killed 2 bulls in between, but been drought on the whitetails. Had some good opportunities with a stick bow, but couldn't come through with that.
Yeah.
So,
It was like throwing horseshoes.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, but you know, you go into a new area like that for the first time, you're gonna like miss things like those food sources. Especially,
Yeah.
I mean, you started scouting that place late in the season, like I normally do. It's like, oh, this looks cool. I'll just go in there and start hunting.
Yeah.
And like you miss things like that. But most time, I would imagine people aren't going into that spot because I'm in that spot early season because it's a long way. It's hot. All those things. I think you can capitalize on that intel every year, you know?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I've already, just from my intel last year, I've already found a mature buck that's using a ridge to bet on at least every other day. So hopefully he'll keep that pattern till the end of the first week of season if we're lucky.
Yeah. You know, also it's funny to me, like watching your activity on where you were, which isn't super far from where I am, but your rut activity is different than mine.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah.
Like surprised me. I mean, just because the way our rut usually is here, it's like trickle rut or heavy in late December.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
What is going on?
Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
We have a technical malfunction.
Yeah. No edits here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually trickle rut, like late season, very good. But I mean, running my cameras on video this year, which is the first year I've actually like focused on doing that, I learned so much. I mean, because I had bucks grunting, cruising in the middle of the day in late October, which I would never have dreamed would be happening here.
Because here it's like late November, early December, and then what I feel is the prime time for mature deer is late December.
Yeah.
And yeah. And that's why that's why I got to help out with the 2 deer that we killed later in the year, was to try and see if they had any fetuses in them so that they could get it out and do the scale. Because the data is so like lacking for once you hit McDowell County and you come west, there's like, if you get west of us, it's really bad. Like there's no data.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I was on that one bear hunt last year, in October, I saw 2 spotted fawns.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
October.
That was mid to late October.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's just so unpredictable up here. I think there's a lot of reasons. I think because we have such a spotty deer population that deer trigger at certain times, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. And also we're up past my bedtime, so I don't want to get nerdy. My bedtime reminder hit me like 30 minutes before the podcast started. Yeah, but you have a lot of good intel to roll into for this year. I think that'd be a sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm stoked about it.
Yeah. We'll see.
So Jason, do you have anything cool happen?
Yes, always.
Well, now that you mention it,
Let me tell you the life of a dirtbag deer hunter.
dirt nap dealer.
Dirtbag, trad boat, dirt nap dealer. Oh yes, I have so many stories from last year. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, for me, I had a plan to hunt here and at home. I had a big deer I was after. And then I had that Iowa tag. So I committed my time to both of those places. And I went to Iowa 1, 2, 3 times. So started season here, got on a buck that I found the year before on public land, which I told Jordan about because I found his rubs, didn't even see the deer. And because I did just a quick little synopsis here. I went in, hunted a new spot like I normally do with my gun during gun season, stalked through on this ridge, ran into some bucks, missed a really good buck at 15 yards, which is funny as hell. Don't know how I did that to this day. And then ejected my bullet, closed the chamber. He stopped 30 broadside, and I dry fired on him. Not my gun's fault, probably my fault. And then a deer ran up behind him, which I thought was another deer, and shot that deer in the neck, dropped him in the tracks, same tracks that deer was standing. I missed. But anyway, going in there, had seen some big buck sign that I was looking for, put cameras in there. I was going to hunt that area this year, found a good buck in there, early season, making some daylight appearances. So tried to get on him. Pretty much he was big enough that I dedicated my whole season to try to kill that deer. And October opener came for Iowa, which I had that tag for that I've been applying for 5 years. Which, for me, I was putting in time on that tag just because I wanted to improve my hunting skills. And I had other stuff going on that was fun. But I felt like if I was going to draw this tag that I only could get every 5 years, I wanted to be the best I could be. And so I went in with the mindset at this place and picked an area that really suited, our skills as mountain hunters. I wanted an area that had terrain features. So we picked a unit that had that, drew that unit, went in there early season for the opener to hunt, and mainly to gain intel on past years rut activity sign. And went in with our buddy Heath Jolly, covered a ton of country, and we actually got on a really good 10 point, which we had on film. It's on YouTube, and we let him go. He was probably, 130 30 inches or so, 10 point. And that hunt left. We came back for the rut, got in on some spots that I thought were good for the wind. I was waiting on this one spot that I really had a lot of hope for a wind that was coming in on the 31st, also with a cold front, which is dynamite for me and my style. If I'm out of state in the Midwest, that first cold front at the end of October is always money for me. I put my money on that day, any day, the next morning. And saw good activity when I was there before that, and then that hit, found some, we'll go more in depth on this at some point, maybe, because we got a video for this hunt. But found the sign I was looking for, got set up that evening, saw 2 bucks fighting that were 130s, didn't want to mess with them, saw a few other bucks, got in there early that morning, well before daylight, and I had to access up this stupid steep creek drainage to get in there. That was the best access, and it was a really off the cusp spot. And got in there. There were deer under my tree. Let them get out of the way. Got set up. Saw 10 bucks that morning, and put an arrow in a really good buck. weird shot, and long story short, ended up having a landowner recover him a month later that I made contact with, and so got that buck out of the deal. And like I said, we'll go more in depth in that some point this year maybe. And then went in North Carolina season. That's all I had committed for the year after going to Alaska and Colorado and then Iowa, those trips. And I was on this buck that I was trying to kill, and I pretty much committed my whole season to him and didn't hunt anywhere else but that deer. Gained a lot of information on him. He was showing up daylight, I just couldn't like connect with him, and I hunted him a lot of days, had a lot of deer come through, which is abnormal for here. Missed a bobcat at 25 yards with my stick bow, which he kind of jumped a string, to be honest. But didn't make that happen, which I've been stoked to kill the bobcat with my stick bow. But then I moved and went to this other area on the same east side of this ridge that I thought this deer was cruising, found some buck sign late, like rifle season, and put a camera in there, made a mock scrape, hunted that for a few days during gun season, left the camera because I figured at least it was him or another deer as big as him. And then my plan was to come back near my prime time of, these mountains. I feel the last week of December is the best. I've killed 2 mature bucks, one on the 18th and one on the 25th. And I see all my big buck activity for mature animals during that time. So I just told myself I was only going to come back in here for that late archery season. I was going to hunt the last week of December. I got COVID and got healed from that, but just didn't have the lung capacity to get back in there because it was like 3 miles, and it's a beast. It's a beast.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel like I could get back in there, much less get a deer out there. So didn't go in there. Went back in during turkey season, pulled my camera, and had the buck I was after. Another absolute just giant for here. I call it Boone and Crockett for us, because we don't have Boone and Crockett's, but he showed up, and then another stud. So at least I have a good game plan for 2022 season, but that was the end of my hunting season. I kind of ended early this year, but I killed, well, I didn't bring any meat home. Oh shit, stick my life.
But it was pretty cool. Terrible, always as hunters, we feel like shit when we don't see the animal die and find them immediately. But it was nice just to have a closure on that deer, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I brought a dog in from Wisconsin, spent a day tracking him, went to private land, made contact with the private landowner, made a relationship with him. He found him opening weekend of gun season when they do deer drives. And
yeah,
and that hunt was amazing. I saw 30 bucks on that hunt, and I think 10 over 4 years old, something like that. Just monster deer. Wish we had more on camera, but I suck at self-filming. Don't want to do that again.
It's one thing I've never got over is when you leave parts of the Southeast and you go to the Midwest for the first time and you see the deer, like an actual mature animal, like a mature buck. It's weird. Like Jordan was with me the first time I saw one in Illinois, and it was life-changing, I guess. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't want to kick any dust on anybody in Iowa, but man, if you own private ground there and you can't kill a mature buck every year or a good buck, man,
what are you doing?
What are you doing, man? I'm sorry. I was on public land, and I'm not saying I'm the best public land whitetail hunter by any means, but if I lived there, there'd be a problem.
Yeah.
Just when I was talking to people that were hunting there and they weren't seeing anything, I'm like, oh, really? But most of these guys, especially the out-of-staters, were hugged up to the cornfields and stuff, and I was getting back as far as I could up the nastiest shit, and
yeah.
And that's, you can't just
get in their bedroom.
I was getting in the bedroom. I was surgically removing them. That's what I was trying to do. But no, you can't go up any nasty holler and expect to find deer, but you got to have the woodsmanship to understand what you're looking for. And I mean, I've got buddies going up there this year that I've talked to, and I'm like, man, if you take your skills up there, you don't need to have many options. There's a lot of deer compared to what we're used to. And I think what makes us, I'm not going to say better hunters, but more resilient, is because we deal with such low deer density that we're willing to sit there and wait a lot longer without feeling uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Or
especially like if you go in a spot like that where you're actually seeing deer, it's like, oh my gosh, like I could sit for days.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to seeing anything.
Yeah. Or the signs there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to walk miles to find sign up here, or even a deer trail. The deer trails up there were like kicked in the dirt 6 inches, you know.
Yeah.
And buck sign was everywhere that you would think it would be. You know, here I may put 10 pins on a map and go there and maybe one pays off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's after a lot of bullshit to get there. But anyway, I mean, we had a good 2021 season, stoked on 2022. What's our plans for this year? What do you guys have cooking?
Well, Tyler,
Well,
go ahead and tell me about your situation now.
all right. So when they found the tumor and they took it out, they put in a cadaver bone and they put in a titanium plate. And between just LIVIN, somehow I broke the plate. So I have to do surgery on September 9th. And season starts.
The opener.
Yeah, season starts September 10th here. So I will be using the crossbow when I can, and then muzzleloader and then rifle. But I'll be hunting here, but I'm also I'll be hunting in Kentucky. It actually just got finalized a little bit earlier tonight. I'll be joining my buddy David and his dad and our buddy Jeff on a lease out there in Kentucky, in beautiful country, West Kentucky. So, you know, I'm gonna try and get out there. It sucks because I really, 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 really wanted to bow hunt. There's a lot of places out on the forest I've been looking at, but the game plan is, I don't know.
That'll be sweet, man. Sucks you gotta hunt with Dave, but it'll still be fun.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, in all honesty, it's okay. It's okay if you hunt with a crossbow as long as you don't use the e-bike.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you next, is in order to get around, because
your leg is like,
he's gonna be riding that thing on the edge of those cornfields, like, yeah, with a backpack of corn. Where am I going?
Who's got some apples? Who's got some apples? Nah. Yeah, that's what I've got planned. I'm just trying to stack them up like cordwood, man.
Stack them up like cordwood. That's what we need. We need more meat during these heavy times of inflation.
It's good because, like, you've got me on the low end of the spectrum. That's just, man, whenever a doe walks by, all I see is that back strap with garlic and butter.
Yeah.
And then we've got, you go on up the echelon to Jason and Jordan.
Yeah.
And they're like holding out for good deer and doing all this other stuff. And then there's flunky old me just.
Well, that's good to the team to understand where we all fit.
Well, I mean, like, on a serious note, it's good that, like, I'm stoked that you're finally, like, just
understand he needs to use a crossbow.
Cold blood.
Oh,
because so many years, like, you were sending me pictures of deer that you were passing and stuff, and I'm like, man, just freaking kill them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. So I started with an organization. I'll leave it at that. And one of the big things was, like, they really shamed if you killed anything that was not a mature animal at all, even if it was a doe. They shamed you. And then had a little bit of money and started getting on a lease in Ohio, and they had a bunch of real kind of stupid rules. If you look at it like from just like a herd management standpoint, the rules they were doing or they were wanting you to do were like what the King Ranch does in Texas, which has done decades of habitat work and decades of like actual in-depth things with their deer herd. And these guys were very restricted on that, because that one deer I sent you that walked right underneath my stand, I found a video of it like 2 weeks ago somewhere. That was a great deer.
Oh yeah.
That was a fantastic deer. And I had the fear of, I don't want to shoot the smallest deer, because some of those people we were with on that lease, man, that was their deal, was they were going to browbeat you and shame you, and like they get really upset about it, man. And it actually turned me off of like leasing land for a long time.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, Jordan and I were talking about that today. Actually, we were talking about our history as hunters before you showed up late to the shop.
Late for my job that pays me.
Yeah, I know, right?
But we were talking about like the pictures and stuff we had as kids, and like how we hunted and how we just shot everything that showed up. And I mean, for a while, for me personally, it was like years of that before I even got stoked to start wanting to kill something bigger.
Absolutely.
And the thing that the outcome of that is like, you get all this experience of having these encounters and interacting with animals and just having fun, because, once your skill level goes up and you start hunting mature deer, I mean, there's fun in it if you've had that time to get this like burnout out of the way, if that makes sense, like killing animals. Because like I get a lot of messages from dudes that are like semi-new hunters that are wanting to know how to kill big bucks in the mountains here in Western North Carolina. I'm like, bro, better get used to not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, like the buck I killed 18, I hunted, I don't know, 66, maybe 30 days. I know. So it's like maybe 66. It didn't see a deer until I saw him. But like I knew he was in there, and I was okay with not seeing anything because I wanted to kill that deer. But like these people, or a lot of people, like get discouraged because of everybody's accomplishments, I think, whereas when we were kids growing up and obviously got introduced to this at an early age, we just had fun doing it.
Yeah. And I think it's especially harder for adult onset hunters because they're, they have ego and they're worried about what people are going to think. And they try to skip the journey of like, okay, I need to just learn how to kill deer, because what's going to happen, and I'm sure what's happened to people, is that they wait and they pass up these things, pass up these deer, small bucks. And then especially somebody around here, they get to see that one deer one time out of a whole season and they never kill anything. So the chances of you even getting a shot off because of the lack of experience is slim to none.
Yeah. I mean, well, we have a guy we trained jiu-jitsu with that started hunting, and he killed a deer first year. And then he's like, I want to kill a mature buck. What do I need to do? And I'm like, well, bro, you need to get, if you're trying to do it with a bow, you need to get some more skills under your belt, because getting drawn back on a mature deer versus a young deer is a completely different game. Like that deer is way more alert than an adolescent. And so like just having those skills of drawing back on animals, and you don't have to kill stuff, but like, I mean, something I do with a stick bow, like I don't shoot does, but I'll draw back on them a lot of times just to see if I can like get drawn on them, just to get that practice in of
Get
being
a side
more
picture.
just putting them in there, just playing that game. A lot of people try to jump these steps to become successful because they don't want to tell their buddy at the water cooler they killed their first buck that was a 1 year, year and a half old 7-point or something. It's like, if that's your first deer, hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially on public land.
Dude, that was one thing, like for me, was at that lease that I was on, a lot of folks, they wouldn't get like necessarily upset, but man, I would go around and I was doe patrol for all 1,200 acres.
Yeah.
And I love every bit of it because, man, I ate the crap out of them. In fact, Jason, there's some fare in the freezer just down the stairs there. And I'm just going to say, that came from this old flunky right here.
I don't think anybody's calling you a flunky. I mean,
I actually
in your face.
Yeah, I know we're virtual. No, But no, I see what you're saying. I think too, like there's still a lot of negative connotations on all of it, right? Like what would for you, I'll get to that one, but like Jordan said what it was, man. It's 100% ego. It's like everyone thinks that they saw so and so do it on YouTube. They need to do it. And if you don't do this, you're not a real hunter and all these things where, I think more people need a freaking squirrel hunt, honestly, because if you really want to learn the woods, just how animals use them, late squirrel season here, like January to February, it's a really good time to see it. And it's also the funnest thing you can probably do with pants on.
I think most people that actually have woodsmanship in their elder age started hunting squirrels or whatever, right? I mean, I did. Squirrels, man, anytime I had the chance to be in the woods, I was in the woods or fishing, like that's just what I did. And that's how you learn this stuff. But unfortunately, onset hunters don't have that opportunity. So it's like this different game. And then as you get older, your ego gets up there and you want to like kill this big buck, and it's tough. And, just because you go from 4 sticks to 1 stick doesn't mean that's going to help you. Like, it's just like, you got to put the time in the woods and learn. And people get lucky all the time, right? I mean, shit. I mean, a lot of my deer are luck, like even though I put time in, like there's still a luck factor.
Well, success favors the prepared. And there's a lot of folks that'll even say like, you get luckier the more time you dedicate to something.
Yeah. Or the hard-headed.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have going for me is I'm very hard-headed and like.
Oh, I wouldn't say that about you at all, Jason. But I will ask you this. What would it take? Like, obviously I know we've talked about it a little bit, like your apprehension of shooting does here in the mountains. Are there areas where you will let it eat on a doe?
I mean, if I'm out of state, I will, but here, man, I just don't see enough to like justify me shooting a doe when I see a handful a year. But in Iowa, I was planning on shooting a doe. I actually missed one. So, there were so many. Like when I was there early season, I was like, oh, I'm gonna whack a doe. And didn't work out. So I mean, if I'm in an area that I know is populated and I've got the tags and I get bored and it just hits me right, yeah, I'll shoot them because I like eating them. Like fortunately, I normally kill a buck or two a year some years, and I have enough meat to get me by. So I'm not trying to like kill 10 deer when I only eat 3 a year either, and most of my time spent trying to kill mature deer on the limited time that I have, even though I feel like I have a lot more time than a lot of people, but
you did.
I did. Or cost me a divorce, but yes. So what are we missing here? Oh, my 2022 plans. Man, I don't have a lot personally going on hunting. I mean, I wanted to spend some more time this year doing things outside of hunting that I haven't done in a while. So like I've been traveling to other countries a little bit, went fly fishing in Belize in late March, early April. That was fun. Had a decent turkey season, missed my first bird in like, I don't know how many years, which is good for the ego. Just went to Costa Rica surfing on a solo trip. That was fun. And hunting wise, let's see, Jordan and I are going to Illinois to go deer hunting. I'm going to help a buddy with his son on a moose tag in Colorado in October. And I'm probably going to hunt some other Midwestern state late November. And then pretty much putting all my time in on this deer here that I found. I really want to get him killed, or at least get a look at him in daylight from a stand. That'd be, for me, that's a accomplishment, but I'm saving up for next year. I have some big plans for next year I want to do. Nothing really exciting.
Jordan, what are your 2022 plans? Obviously, you're going to Illinois.
Well, you were going to come, but you broke your arm. No, yeah, I'm trying to make that. Just hunt around here. It's tough with, first year we hadn't done an elk trip in a while, so I will be stoked to actually have, because I hadn't got to go on a rut hunt in a few years, out of state rut hunt with the elk hunts, but with 3 kids, 7, 5, and 3-year-old, it's hard to get time. But yeah, hunt around here for sure. Focusing on that spot that I found last year. Like I said, I already had that one buck that I found. Hopefully I can get on him early season, and maybe if I do get to go to Illinois, get something down out there. But I'm just stoked to get in the woods. And I love elk hunting like so much. It would be hard to choose. Like once you freaking hear those bugles, it's just like, my gosh. But I am stoked to actually be able to hunt like early season this year, because I feel like that's a very underrated time to kill a mature buck in the mountains. And I'm stoked to go out of state to hunt somewhere too. So that's about what I got.
Nice.
Sweet.
Be fun filled. I think the Illinois trip will have Heath with us. Maybe Chris Perino. So be fun. Tyler, I didn't think we were like kicking you out. We've told you about this, but you
No.
what?
No, this is the first I've heard about it in Illinois. So
Are you serious?
yeah. So back when we were talking about that hierarchy and how people rank in the company, let's just kind of reiterate.
Well, you're formally invited.
Hey, broke kid, broke arm guy. You can
Yeah.
we need somebody to, GPS and call in. Are y'all going? So are you thinking like public, or what do you want to?
Don't you insult me like that.
Jason hired a guide.
Jason. Oh, going to
Yeah.
Bonanza, huh?
We got 40 worm piles waiting for us.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Oh, well, you're more than welcome to come.
Are y'all going in November?
We're going sometime between October and November. We can't share too many details. We're going to Illinois. No specifics.
Are you going? No, just kidding.
Well, literally the other day when we found out you had a broke arm, we were both like, well, there goes Illinois.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't remember us saying that?
I'm sorry. My mind was in other places.
Touche.
Yeah.
Understandably.
You always feel like you're getting bullied.
You don't remember that, Tyler? What? You had
Yeah.
nothing on your mind.
Jason whispered in the background.
Jason. Oh, is that what you were back there whispering?
Yeah, he told me we're going to Illinois. Well,
That's
maybe
funny.
tentatively, Tyler. Let's keep moving here. Upcoming guests. So we're going to start. These podcasts are not only be about our recaps. We're going to include some people, have some fun folks on talking about hunting, but adventure hunting is like more what stokes me. I know you guys too. Talking some different tactics, probably will not be talking about wind-based bedding. I think that
Good Lord.
that old horse has been beat to death.
And then pumped a little bit of air in its lungs and beat some more.
Yeah, Jesus.
God
I do.
almighty.
But I do have a hot new video coming out on wind-based bedding in the mountains this coming weekend. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's more in depth than you've heard before. Insider,
Okay.
just for our Patreon members.
You mean we're not going to do anything where we discuss about thermals?
Yes.
Because, I mean, no one ever talks about that, and it's so different everywhere.
I got a tattoo that says thermal in my lower back.
Oh, is this time for another bad tattoo story?
No.
Because that happened last time, and that was
No.
fantastic.
No, I almost got one in Costa Rica, but
Oh, God.
Oh,
yeah, but I talked myself out of it because my frontal lobe is developed, so I'm
Yeah.
very much more aware. But I took a bunch of workout videos on the beach that we haven't posted yet, and I've like taking other people's inspirational quotes and I'm gonna plug them in there.
Yeah.
Were you doing shots? Were you doing like shooting doubles into the breakers, into the waves?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a lot of me riding tubes. But yeah, we got some cool guests coming up, and some things that we want to incorporate to our podcast that we were talking about. We're going to start trying to announce a guest before they come on, maybe get some questions from the audience, all a million of y'all. And we only can get to a few, so bear with us. But some questions that you want to ask these people directly, or even just us for our podcast. I mean, it can be funny stuff. It can be in-depth, beginner. We don't shun on anything. We like questions. Anything else in that realm, guys, about upcoming podcasts?
No, I think we're planning to be more consistent for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got equipment now. Hopefully this all works out.
Yeah, we had equipment and got ruined in the flood.
It did. Oh,
So have we even said anything about that?
Jordan, thank you so much for saying that. I mean, the main reason this podcast didn't continue at the exceptional rate it was going is because shortly after our podcast and after our open house event, where our
3 days,
Adrian broke.
Yeah, it was 3 days.
Hey, let's back up here. Remember when we talked about recording our podcast on Friday the 13th?
Yeah. Well,
yes, it bit us in the butt.
Holy crap. I never put that together.
So our building was flooded and ruined our podcast equipment, which Tyler left on the floor. So good, Tyler. Love you.
I know, like you feel like you did something wrong. You didn't anticipate the flood. Me and Jason were literally there all day and it was pouring. We're like, well, I guess we'll leave all of our stuff on the floor and just go home.
Yeah. We live in a floodplain. Or we have floodplain.
Yeah.
Man, this rain's coming down.
Yeah.
17 inches at the top of the mountain.
I know. It was crazy.
Scary, man. In all seriousnst, it was bad for our town there where our shop is.
We had
people.
We had
8 people lost.
8 people lost their life. We had 3 foot of water in our shop. It was
still
a mess.
Recovering. I mean,
yeah, still recovering.
FEMA still hasn't even picked up the first piece of debris.
No, and the city pool just got opened again.
Yeah.
Which is more of a letdown. Like summer's almost over and just now getting to go to the pool. But
we're sorry you're so inconvenient.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Influencer.
Yeah, I'll go out there and take some.
I couldn't do my TikToks because the pool went up, man.
I was going to do a TikTok of me going down a tube slide.
Well, hang on a second. Doesn't that pool still have a diving board? Doesn't it still have a high dive?
I was going to do the triple landing.
I'm just saying, that's worth something.
I had a million dives off that thing.
But seriously, yeah, we lost our podcast equipment, and then our stick sales went through the roof during hunting season, and we got busy and trying to take care of customers. Thank you.
Yeah.
All you loyal customers. We appreciate all y'all's loyalty. The fact that we've only had 5 returns is awesome. Love all y'all. If y'all have anything, holla at your boys. So yeah, I guess let's start wrapping it up. But one thing that we're going to do at the end of all podcasts is we're going to have a fire question scenario. And tonight we're doing it with none other than Tyler Ross.
Oh gosh.
The Possum Ross.
The Possum Ross. So
mean.
Because he's mean. And he will drown you in a puddle of water.
Real quick, Jordan, you remember that time when we were bow hunting in Illinois and we got down out of the tree and like we heard all this noise around us and it was insane. Like it was all around us. And I was like, what is that? And I was like, do you think it's deer? And we turn on our headlamps. There's like 70 something possums like just circling us.
Yeah, they might get you.
You get swarmed by a posse of possums.
Yeah,
or they were coming to find their king.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah. The possum king.
This is our Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, our Theo Vaughn. So the rat king, we have the possum king. Oh my goodness.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tattoo. Boom.
Boom. So we have 4 questions today on the rapid fire.
Okay.
First question is boxers or briefs?
Boxer briefs.
Boxers or briefs?
I don't neither.
Oh, you go
boxer briefs.
I said boxer briefs. They're a combo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at you complicating the 4 questions.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there's 2 styles, but
There's 3.
okay. Why is it that you like the boxer briefs then?
Support and good breathing. There's a lot that goes on there. Like if I feel like doing some yoga out in the quad, I can walk, bust out and do that.
Oh, I should have put that in because I wear boxer briefs. Why do you not go commando?
I do every now and then.
Okay.
It's I like to get primal, connect back.
Do you feel like it makes you a little more like dexterous if you're?
Is that a word?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
Depending on the activity.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it in jiu-jitsu, basketball, soccer, football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want teabag friends.
No.
Second question, public or private?
Land? Is that what we're talking about? No.
Sex.
Oh.
No, honey, just kidding.
No, it's actually, you know what? I really don't. It really doesn't. I don't really care too much, but I will say actually, like, there's an appeal about a chunk of public land. Like, if you think like when we go west, some of those units we're in are millions of acres. It's awesome just to know you can go, So I think that's more of an appeal to me than private land, even though from a real job, that's all I do is work on private land. So
Awesome. Number 3, favorite hunting snack.
Why is he saying these with a lisp?
Probably any type of gummy, like the Welch's fruit snacks. Those are fantastic. What's that one, Jordan? Like the energy chews we were taking while we were out there. Those are good.
Colorado High Times.
Mm-hmm.
The
absolutely. Those.
The honey stinger energy chews.
Yeah.
And those Cliff Bar energy chews.
Yeah.
Those were,
I was pleasantly surprised about those this year.
The margarita flavor.
Yes.
Margarita.
Not gonna lie.
That was Dave turned me on to those. Quite good.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that kind of stuff is that like that extra burst of juice gives you a little bit more enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So
It gets you skipping.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah. They do work though. They'll get your energy up. I would have thought different from you. All right.
What did you have me pegged as? Actually, let me answer all of them, and then you come back and you tell me what you thought my answers would be.
Well, we said snack, not snacks. I thought potted meat with crackers or something.
No, that's actually David's favorite. Our buddy David, he will eat Vienna sausages and the cracker. He gets excited.
Does he drink the juice out of the can before he eats the Vienna sausages?
You've met David.
Yes. Okay.
You can ask that question.
He's a juice drinker. Oh my god.
He's a juice snorter. He's already.
Oh dude.
Yeah.
There's something to that. My father-in-law is a big buck mountain killer, and his favorite backcountry snack is barbecue viney wieners, as he calls them.
Yeah.
Crackers.
It is a solid. I mean, it's I do enjoy it, but I look at that more as a meal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because there's a lot more happening there.
Okay,
Whereas with the
you're
gummies, they're just a little snacky,
Yeah, just a little toddler. Just a little.
Yeah.
I like a good little hand of trail mix myself.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I like a little trail mixes in my hands.
little M&M action.
Yeah, just throw them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last question. Who is your role model? And if you say Cam Haynes, you'll never be on this podcast again.
Who is my role model?
Yes. And it as a hunter, maybe. So I know mostly it's like, who knows?
I get okay, so who's the role model for me in the hunting space?
Well, yeah, let's just use it. We're talking hunting. Who's your influencer? If you had an influencer, who would be your influencer? And why?
honestly, it'd probably be either Chuck Adams or Dwight Schrute. Like,
not mentioning me is another way to get off this podcast.
That was great. That was great.
No, actually,
those are great ones. No,
Yeah,
dude, like I remember.
Yeah.
So there's a gentleman. His name's Ron Lauber. He's written a lot of articles, done a lot of bow hunting. I went to school at Western with his son, and his son. We were sitting in the back of GIS class, obviously paying all the attention in the world to GIS because that was fun. And during our downtime, he I was reading some of his dad's articles, but he started showing me some of the stuff that Dwight did, and then I started reading a lot of Chuck Adams stuff. And around that time was when I bought that Jennings Carbon Extreme XLR. Jordan remembers that. We called it the Bow of Orthanc because it looked like it was out of Lord of the Rings. And that's when I really started shooting a bow. And those guys, they had fantastic stuff. But this isn't going to get me off the podcast because I'm here. But one of my absolute favorite books about bow hunting was written by Cameron Hayes. It's fantastic.
It is.
And it's good stuff. In fact, that's what we looked at that helped us plan out first time we went to Idaho.
That's awesome. I mean, I was so much of a fan of Chuck Adams as a kid. Like, I saved up all my money to buy a Hoyt just because of him, to be honest with you. And I hadn't kept up with him for a long time, and I've been researching Sitka Blacktail. I'm planning on going there next year. I want to hunt Kodiak, and
we all are. Timmerman's paying for it.
Yeah, Timmerman's paying. We're all going as a team, except Tyler. He'll get a late invite before tickets are available.
I'll find out about it 2 days before you guys leave. Oh yeah, you didn't hear me say that? I was standing all the way over there.
I mean, we asked if you wanted a ticket. You said no. But he killed the world record velvet Sitka deer in 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. I could be off on these dates, but there was a Q&A thing I read with him, and it was interesting to me because he's so famous, obviously, and he can get paid to go anywhere and hunt with any outfitter. But he went on this hunt by himself, and he went, and he said it was his favorite hunt to go do by himself because he liked the early season in Kodiak because the blacktails, and this is what I'm after, they're up in the high country where goats are. So you're hunting blacktails in the high country and goat terrain, getting in spotting stalks. And he was in there just having a fun time by himself. And also the bears are usually lower during that time. But my buddy Chris Perino always reminds me that there's always that one pissed off asshole bear that's up there by himself, hungry with a toothache, that may be looking for you. So, a brown bear doesn't make you sleep good at night up in that country by yourself. But but Chuck ended up killing this monster buck. I think in velvet, he was like 108, 110 inches, which is a really good Sitka deer. And it was interesting to me. I didn't know this. They were asking him his bow and arrow setup, and he's still shooting a compound with fingers.
Yep.
And he has Hoyt make him, which I've heard recently that he's now a bear shooter since then. Now he shoots for bear. But he had them make him a bow that's 50% let off, and he was shooting with his fingers with a compound bow. Yep. And I think he killed that deer with XX75 game getter aluminum arrows.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's like, you got so I don't know if y'all remember when they had the Fred Bear, the Field Notes, that podcast that was out, and like somebody read that, that's fantastic. And like, obviously Fred Bear, amazing. But like, we miss Fred Bear, right? We weren't there. But like Chuck Adams is like, I feel like our collective generation's Fred Bear, and he's just an amazing, awesome person. Like, from everything I've read, all the interviews he's done, all these people that, like, when we were at ATA this year, I was really hoping that I was going to see a black beanie walking around, and it was Chuck Adams, and I didn't know how I was going to respond.
Yeah, I know, man. And that, I think, oh man, we don't have time for this, but it's just interesting, like with social media, and you have all these people that present themselves as being that guy, but they're not that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm concerned about how many of these humble dudes that, I mean, can we call him humble because he actually put himself out there, right? I mean, there's so many guys that have done so many amazing things that they never talked about. Like, for instance, Chris Perino, who we're gonna have on, he's killed all species of bear with a recurve that he made, right? But he has like zero presence, or like he's super humble about it. And like all these stories of that, like, are we truly going to get that next Fred Bear or Chuck Adams? You know, like I don't see that personally.
Question.
When I look in the Instagram feeds, like the person that I consider to be a goat, especially for Western hunting, is like Ryan Lampers, right?
Yeah, he's a stud.
But I've lost a little credit for him when he started putting this stuff out on film. Like, I love seeing just his pictures of him being in the woods with a big animal he killed, and then maybe you heard about it on a podcast, you know?
Yeah.
I like those elusive type people myself. And I just wonder, like, I mean, I know there's tons floating around, but like, not as many are writing books and stuff like they used to either. Like, these guys also wrote books. I mean, if you look like on the stick bow side, you look back on like the Bows of the Little Delta, all these other books of people doing these explorations, like Fred Bear with stick bows, just doing it because they loved it, you know?
I mean, like, look at turkey hunting, like Tom Kelly, what is it, 9th, 10th Legion, or
10th Legion.
my favorite's Gene Nunnery, man, the old pro turkey hunter. That like is such an amazing book. And I think that's why I like Dwight Schrute something, like, because like I'll go back to what Jordan was saying, like elk hunting, I just absolutely love it. Like, it's hard to describe. I get so excited, and I'm very depressed that we're not going, but going and reading some of his stuff, and then watching, they did that special with him and Jones. It was like they went back and did their elk hunts, and or like another hunt, and it was on YouTube. Man, I watched that over and over and over, because like, so genuine, so legit, and they were right before what I feel like. And it's obviously, this is going to be weird for people to wrap their heads around, coming from the three of us who own a company in the hunting industry that sells product and gear. Like, before the hunting space became inundated with, you know, perversion of just dropping gear in people's face and like bastardizing what hunting is and stuff, you know. And it's that, I guess that's part of the allure too, like kind of like what you're talking about there, like what I like about Ryan. And I say that, but there's also some other people that receive a lot of hate that are, you know, content creators in this space that I actually have a whole lot of respect for.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that are great people, like,
For sure.
You know, like our buddy Brian, man, like,
yeah,
you know, while I was sick, dude never publicized anything about it, didn't do anything, raised a crap ton of money for me on his own and sent, so that I didn't have to worry about bills while I was getting treatment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never went and put that up there. You know, BMAC never did anything about that. But if it was some of these other influencers, they would have like come and like taken a selfie next to me while I'm sitting there getting chemotherapy, like puking my guts up, like, look what I did, some good, you know. And but all that to say, like, I feel like that old school mentality just in general in life is like dwindling out.
Yeah, or it's just not out in public. I mean, it still happens. I mean, we have our own select little group that we share stuff with, you know. In the same. But well, I guess we'll start wrapping it up. We're going to be more frequent with our podcast. We're going to try to record some with some people, do some more recaps, add in some conservation. I think Tyler's going to spearhead that because I suck at that. And hopefully have a good time. And if you could be so kind to go ahead and slap that subscribe button, it would help us a lot, because we just want to retire from our podcasts. And I don't know, got to call in a Joe Rogan, see if he'll like finance us. Right now, the only sponsor we have is Tim and Ninja Outdoors. And
are they sponsoring us? I don't think they can afford it.
Yeah, we can't afford that. Oh,
It's funny. People talk to me like, "You got 2 jobs." I'm like, "Yeah, one I get paid for, and then the other one I pay to do."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for glamour.
I pay with time I can't sleep,
Yeah,
sweating,
Yeah.
thinking about it.
yeah, or getting like a carbon infection from
Yeah.
drilling
gosh.
sticks.
Walk into the shop and my arms itch from carbon splinters.
I know. Hey, but we make fun stuff.
Yeah,
And
it is. It's
we
fun.
have fun doing it.
Oh yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad we could make this happen. Hopefully this recorded well. It will not be edited. And until next time, Tim and Ninja Radio, over and out.
Woo!